Hello, everyone. All right. In my mind, this is a state of emergency. So, if you know of anyone that is having trouble with basic math, call them up. Tag them in this live right here, right now. Because originally I was going to have something else for us to do, but this is getting ridiculous. Like, I'm seeing a lot of students, adults, kids, it doesn't even matter. We need to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals. Our money is in decimals. Everything that we basically do deals with decimals. So this is probably the reason why if I walk around, I see people when they get change, they throw it on the street like it's like an old piece of gum or something. So we are going to be working on decimals today. All right? So if that is not the live that you need, that's fine. I will catch you next time. But right now, I really and truly have to hit on this. And I'm going to try to incorporate some solving maybe one-step equations with it. Okay, so spread the word. Let's go because we are definitely getting this done. Now, the thing when we're adding, subtracting, especially adding, subtracting decimals, we have to make sure that our decimals are lined up. Okay, with multiplication, not so much have to do the lining up. But with addition and subtraction, you have to line up your decimals. So let's say, for instance, we have like 11.4, and I'm going to write it horizontally first. 11.4 plus 61.3. Okay? If we are so used to seeing it, we might see it horizontally. And you're probably like, well, it's kind of hard for me to see it this way. Well, guess what? You can rewrite it. You can rewrite it let me put it into a different color so you can see the difference. You can rewrite this as 11.4 plus 61.3. Or in 3/10. Notice my decimal points are lined up. Thank you. Okay. Notice it's completely lined up. So now all we got to do now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am. You're not starting over in the 10th spot. You're starting at the lowest, in this case, the 10th spot. So we're starting back here. So we have 4 plus 3. That gives me 7. Now we have the decimal point. So that means we're putting the decimal point in the direct line as the other decimal points. Then we have 1 plus 1. That gives me 2. And then 1 plus 6. That gives me 7. Okay? Is it Kaler or Kyler? Just like what Kaler said. It's 72. But it's not going to be 0.4. It's going to be 0.7. All right? Okay? So we just have to make sure we line everything up. All right? So 4 plus 3 gives me 7. 1 plus 1 gives me 2. 1 plus 6 gives me 7. All right? So if you're ever given a problem horizontally, make it vertically. It'll be so much easier for you to see it. Okay? You can always rewrite. All right, so let's try another one before I add some operation in here. All right, so let me slide this bad boy over. So I got 1359 plus 16.19. Okay? And I'll be perfectly fine if everybody's like, man, Audrey, this is mad easy. But here's my thing. I had how many tutoring sessions today? I am exhausted, but I had a couple that was struggling with this. Okay? One was a 10th grader. Another one was an adult. I'm scared. Okay? So I want to make sure I'm emphasizing this. Okay? I'm not here to insult. I'm not here to belittle. I'm just here to educate. I really want you to understand this more so than trying to find completing the square or trying to find the ratios and all this other stuff. Okay? Please, please, please. If you struggle with this, I need for you to stay on. All right? Okay? So you thought the bigger number goes on top? It doesn't matter with addition. Good question. Thank you for your honesty, B. I appreciate you. It doesn't matter when it comes to addition. Subtraction would be helpful. Okay? Addition doesn't matter. All right? Okay. So, again, we're seeing it horizontally, so let's put it vertically. So if we have our 13.59, and then we're adding our 16.19, okay? We're not starting over in the 10th spot, okay? No, we got to take it all the way over, in this case, to the 100th spot, all right? So we have 9 plus 9. That gives me 18. So when I have an 18, you write down the 8 and you carry the 1, not vice versa, okay? I'm only saying this to educate. I hope you guys know me by now. I'm not here to be malice whatsoever, okay? I can't go to you like, oh, there's Janice, nope, there's this person, they don't know what's going on. No, it's none of that, okay? I just really want you to understand and educate yourselves with this, okay? All right, thank you. So now, 5 plus 1 gives me 6, but the 1 that we carried over from the 18 is here. So that gives me 7. Now, my decimal point is lined up. So that's going to be a point right there. 3 plus 6 gives me 9. And the 1 plus 1 gives me 2. Okay? So 1359 plus 1619 will give me 29.78. Thank you, Hello Jello. Right. There you go, Chantel. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Now, Hello Jello, here's the thing. Ready? Yes, you can just use a calculator, but there are people that are trying to either get into the military, get into community college, okay, maybe get into a program, and there are assessments that they cannot use a calculator for. You can't use a calculator for the ASVAT. You can't use a calculator for Accuplacer unless it comes up. You can't use a calculator for GED unless it pops up. So there are so many assessments that you can't use a calculator. And also the SATs, they have a calculator section. So there's another section that you can't use a calculator for. Okay? So you have to know this mental math. I know. And trust me, basic math, counting money, this is essential. That's why I am calling this a state of emergency. So if you know of anybody that's like, hey, they can't make change, because years ago, I was at a Safeway, a local Safeway, and I forgot what it was, but this guy gave her a 20 and 10 cents so he can get $1 back. The girl cried because she didn't understand how to make change. And she was the cashier. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? It's all kinds of crazy. All right, great. I'm so glad. Just because, hey, trust me, I know some Asians that have some difficulties with their basic math skills. It has nothing to do with your nationality. Okay? Trust me. I've been into several classes. It's all based on what you want to do. All right. So one more with the addition. So let's make it more profitable. Let's say I want 76 and 44 hundredths plus, I know, 30. Oh, no, you're about to come on here. Hold on for a sec, guys. I love you, but you're gonna have to be outside. Okay? Wait until I'm done with my life. Because you guys would have had a cat's butt in your face. All right. And so it's not just plus 30.602. Okay. So that's the whole problem. 76 and 44 hundredths plus 30 and 602 thousandths. Adding those together. Okay, I know, hello, Jello. I know. Yep. There you go. Have you taken GACE? I don't know what that is. What's a GACE? Is that like a state assessment? Because I'm in Maryland. I've never heard of a GACE. Okay. Hey, Michael. Yep. They adopted me. They found me and they forced me to feed them. So now here is the key. Okay. They don't have names. Michael, they do not respond to names. They respond to their call by opening a can of food. Yep. I am slowly turning into the cat lady of Evergreen Avenue. I do not want that title. That's the one title I really don't want. Okay. So we have our 76.44. And now we're not going to put the 30 all the way over here. Remember, when you're adding, you're lining up your decimals. Okay? You're lining them up. So that means the 3 is going underneath the 7. The 0 is going underneath the 6. The 6 is going underneath the first 4. The 0 underneath the second 4. And the 2. All right? Since we are adding, it really doesn't matter which one's going to be on top. But I know a lot of people are like, well, I'd rather put the 30 on top because it has this overhang. That's fine. Because guess what? No matter what, that 2 is going to come on down because 2 is going to be added to nothing. Okay? Even if I put a 0 as a placeholder, that's not going to disrupt the value of what's happening with the 76.44. So I'm still going to bring down my 2. Okay? 4 plus 0, that still gives me 4. If I have $4 and I didn't spend anything, that means I still have $4 in my pocket. So now 4 plus 6, that gives me 10. So I'm putting down the 0 and carrying the 1. Okay? You're not squeezing a 10 at the bottom. All right? You're dropping 1 digit and you're carrying it over to the next digit. So now 6 plus 0 gives me 6, plus the 1 that we carried over gives me 7. And don't forget to bring down your decimal so we can keep everything lined up. Now we have 7 plus 3, that gives me 10. All right, so then this is my final answer. So 107 and 42 thousandths. With the TH at the end. Hello, hello. Yes. Yes. Okay. Did I always like math growing up? No. I'm not going to lie to you. Jay, no, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't like it because I didn't understand it, and I didn't have anyone to break down the concepts really. So I was one of those kids that my mom will say, "Ask your father," and your father would be like, "All right, I guess we can do this," and then yeah, totally does not understand. Okay, yes. All right. So, oh wait. Got 2 new messages. So sorry. All right. Okay. But math loved you. Yeah, math got me. It's like a jilted lover, and then all of a sudden, she's cool. All right. So now, with this being said, let's do the subtraction. Okay? I want to do the addition, then the subtraction, then I'm going to show you one-step equations before I get into multiplying and dividing. All right? So now, let's get with it. I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of separation so we have it. All right. So if I'm going to do subtraction, the same thing is happening. And just like, who said it earlier or who asked it earlier about, it was B. B says, I felt the bigger number goes on top. All right, so now, since we're getting into the subtraction, the what? No. Okay, so if anything, for subtraction, yes, you want to have the larger number on top. All right, you definitely want to have the larger number on top. So if I had, let's say, okay, if they were talking about 89.64 minus 32.5. Okay. Since you see it horizontally, rewrite it vertically. So that means you're going to have the 89.64 minus the 32.5. All right. So, when it comes to this, again, if I wanted to, I could put a 0 down for the placeholder, but it's not necessarily because it'll be 4 minus nothing, okay? And that will still give me 4. So now 6 minus 5, that'll give me 1. Line up your decimal point. 9 minus 2 gives me 7. And 8 minus 3 gives me 5. So I have 57.14. Okay. All right. Is this making sense? All right. I know I'm going to lose a lot of people today. Like, oh my God, Audrey, this is so easy. Like, why are you doing this? Well, because I had 2 people, one grown, the other one in high school, struggling to do this. You know? And then, of course, before I came on live, there's this guy that has this question up, and this is day 2 or day 3 of this question, and now he's starting to be, I've never met someone that was rude, I'm going to kick people out, this is my platform, all this other stuff. And I'm like, all right, it's easy for to solve. It was just one thing that people kept missing up on, and I said my 2 cents on it. But I have never, ever heard of anyone being so rude in my life about it. Okay. Use lots. Yeah. I know. They don't. They want to do, okay, there's 80, and then there's 9, and then there's 64, and all this other stuff. Look, I can only teach it the way I can teach it, only way I know how, and I get it. I get it. I am not the end-all, be-all of all things. But, good heavens, we got to do better, all right? We have to do better. All right. Woosah. All right, so what happens if it looks like this? I'm going to put it slightly up. So if I have a negative 49.56 plus 52.07. Okay. What could I do first? How to test for a linear... Not tonight, John. Please. I can't. Okay? Doing basic math right now. I'm trying as hard as I possibly can not to be like, you know what? We really need to do something with the Department of Education because we got people graduating and moving on into areas and they don't know how to do this. And they're doing this because they're taking advantage of people. And I'm really getting pissed off. And I'm really, really trying hard not to lose my stuff and keep it culture. So I'm trying to relax as best I can. Yeah, right, Michael? And I'm just like, they're so unnecessary. It's already bad enough that we all have to go through this. But I'm willing to do this. Hello, Janice. How are you? Okay. So if I see something like this, again, I'm going to put the largest number on top. So I'm going to have 52.07. Okay. And it's going to be minus 49.56. All right. If you can't see it horizontally, put it vertically. Okay. Now, let's go with the subtraction. 7 minus 6, that gives me 1. Now, 0 minus 5, that's really hard to do. It's almost like you're trying to buy something when you know you don't have any money, right? So we want to borrow. I'm going to borrow $10 from this person. And I'm going to make, so you had $20, I'm going to take $10 from them. So now he's got 10, and now I got 10. So 10 minus 5 gives me my 5. Because when you borrow, you're making it into a 10. Okay? All right? Yes. There you go. Thank you. Line up your decimal point. So now you have your 1 minus 9. Kind of hard to do that. So I need to borrow 10 from 5, from this 50. So now we're going to make it into a 4 and make that 11, make that 1 into an 11 slot. So now I got 11 minus 9. That's $2. And then look here. 4 minus 4, that gives me 0. And since that 52 was a positive number, that means my answer is going to be positive. So think about it. If I have $52.07 and I spent $49.56, that means I'm going to still have some money left over. So that's why it's going to be a positive $2.51. Okay? All right? This is my answer. Okay. So right now, tonight, I am willing to sacrifice the algorithm. I want to make sure you guys know this. I don't want anybody taking advantage of you whatsoever. I can't deal with it. All right. So let's look at it. Let's be a little algebraic with it. Okay, we just did a little bit of arithmetic. So now let's carry it over to algebraic. So if I am looking at an equation, so I'm looking at 2.8 plus m equals 9.6. All right. We want to solve for m. That's the goal. Okay, anytime you're dealing with the algebraic equation, because there's an equal sign, we want to isolate our variable. That should be your goal each and every time. So that means I want m to be by itself on the same side of that equal sign. Think of the equal sign like a wall. Okay? So whatever you do on one side of the wall, you got to do on the other side. So in order for me to get rid of or to keep m right where it is, I need to get rid of that 2.8. Okay? In order for me to get rid of the 2.8, I got to do opposite its signage. Now, this is another thing that gets a lot of people, especially with the algebra. Everyone keeps thinking that this plus sign is attached to the 2.8. It's not. This plus sign is attached to the m. Your signage always goes to the left of the number. If you don't see anything in front of this, in this case 2.8, that means this is a positive 2.8. So we need to do the opposite of positive. Yes, Janice, thank you. We need to subtract 2.8. And whatever I do on one side of the equal sign, I need to do on the other. So when I subtract these are going to cancel. They're going to give me 0. But I don't need to put the 0 as a placeholder because I still have this m over here. So all I have to do is just bring down my m and bring down my equal sign. So on the right-hand side, we have 9.6 minus 2.8. Okay? 9.6 is bigger than 2.8. So since the signs are different, I'm going to be doing subtraction. So 6 and 8, that's kind of tough to do. Okay? 6 and 8 is kind of tough to do. So I need to borrow a tenner from 9. So that'll make that 8. And this 6 is now a 16. 16 minus 8, that'll give me 8. We still have to line up the decimal point. Okay? Adding and subtracting, you still line up your decimal point. So now you just have 8 minus 2. Good, Janice. 8 minus 2, that'll give me my 6.8. All right. Thank you for the follows, guys. I'm sorry. I'm usually a little chipper, but dealing with this most of the day and reading stuff from the news, and yeah, I'm just, it's all like, need to get it done. Because this is like, we have to get this down. Like, this is stuff that we see every day. Okay, you have $9.06. The item that you want to get costs $2.80. Well, that means you're going to be subtracting. And once you subtract, you're going to have $6.80 left over, right? So those are the things. Thank you, guys. Good. Thank you for the follow. So we all have to kind of get these things together, all right? So let's try another one. So we have... slide those over. So we have x, we'll do this one. X plus a negative, because sometimes they love doing this. X plus negative 11.64 is equal to negative 6.96. Okay. All right. So in this case, what are we going to be doing on both sides so we can isolate our variable? What do you think? So Janice is saying add. Do we agree with Janice? Good. I got another person saying add. Yes, Shannon. Get x by itself. And how we do it, we're going to add. Okay? So we're going to add the 11. Yes, 11.64. Thank you, Michael. All right, good, Shannon. There we go. All right, so the item that, or the number that's on the same side with the variable, that's what we're going to move. All right, so they're giving us a negative 11, so that means we're adding both sides. Let me change colors. So we got plus 11.64 on both sides. But are we actually adding? Okay, are we actually adding though? No. Okay, why is that? Why are we not actually adding? Okay, it's negative. Thank you. Okay, the signs are different. Yes, the signs are different. When the signs are different, you're really subtracting. Okay, when the signs are exactly the same, you're going to be adding. All right, to use that as a rule. But then take a look. The bottom number is bigger than the top number. So why not, let's flip it around. Let's go 11.64 minus 6.96. Why not flip it around so it makes a little more sense? So you'll be able to get the right amount that you're going to borrow. So here I'm looking at the 4 and the 6. Let's borrow from the 6. Let me borrow a $10 spot. So that 6 is now a 5. This 4 is now a 14. 14 minus 6 gives me what? Okay, thank you, Shannon. Okay, careful. Because 6 and 6 is 12, plus 2 more. That will give me 8. There you go. I came to party. Good job. All right. So now, if we try to do 5 minus 9, I can't really do that. So I'm going to borrow. Let me borrow a tenner. So instead of a 5, that's a 15. So what's 15 minus 9? Okay, I came to party. You came to do some math. Good. What's her name? Oh, I love that. That's cute. All right, so we got our 6. Nice job. Now, this is the part that makes me crazy. I'm just like, a lot of people are like, okay, I got a 0 and a 6, so I'm going to borrow from the 1. Why? It's already right there. You already have your 10. If you want to borrow from this 1 and make the 10 there, no matter what, you still got a 10 over here. So now you got your 10 minus your 6. 10 minus my 6 is going to give me what? I know, I'm sorry that I'm insulting you guys, but just work with me, please. Yes. Thank you, user. There we go, Shannon. Thank you. Appreciate it. There we go. Good. All right. So that means, good. That means my unknown is going to be 4.68. Now, is it still going to be positive? Like the wolf. Okay. Is it still going to be positive? Yes or no? Okay. Yes. 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 Good. Because since 11 is bigger than 6, 11 is positive, right? So it's almost like you have $11. You only spent $6.96. So that means you still have, in the plus, $4.68. So this is going to be what x equals. All right. Excellent. Good job. Good job, L-Dub. Way to come back. Thank you. All right. How are we feeling about this? Okay, so even if, we don't have a whole lot of people looking at this now, at least the replay will be available to you on my YouTube channel, all right? Because that's another thing people keep talking about. Well, what happens if TikTok goes away? I'm like, you know what? I'm so sick of the woulda, coulda, shouldas, okay? But that's where you're going to find me if anything all of a sudden gets a little crazy. All right, and you need some assistance with your math, go ahead. Audrey Codner at ACG Math Tutoring. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, all right? And I did get a couple new reviews last night. Thank you so much. And I did get a couple people that paid for my courses. Thank you very much as well. So remember, I'm here to help, all right? This is awesome. Thank you, Amy. I know. I was like, I appreciate it so much. All right. Do you need any more examples with addition and subtraction? I have a few. Yes, it is. I'm going to ride this TikTok brand until it falls off. All right. All right. So I'm seeing like a couple, like, you guys are still here. All right. I can always come back. You know me. If you don't understand something, you have to put it into the chat. Because if you don't, I'm going to just keep on going. Okay? Because I don't mind repeating myself sometimes. 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 All right. So, now we're going to talk a little bit about multiplying decimals. Okay? This is another one. So if I want to okay, so we're going to multiply decimals. All right, this is your favorite. Finding the radius of that. Pistachio, right now, I had 2 people that didn't know how to do this. So I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude. Just not tonight. At all. Okay? Not at all. So we have, for our first example, we have 9.8. And I know it's probably like, oh, Audrey, are you trying to save the whole universe? Well, damn it, can I try? Can I try? Because right now, sometimes I feel like a lot of people are just for themselves. And that's sad. All right. So we have 9.8 times 7.51. All right. So as we are doing this, your decimal points do not, and I repeat, do not need to line up. What we're going to do is actually take notice of how many decimal places are in each of the factors, okay, in order for us to get our product. Yeah. All right. Thank you, L-Dub. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. All right, so I kind of like, me personally, the ones with the longest numbers, not really biggest numbers, but the longest numbers to be on top. It'll just make things a little bit easier for me. So I have my 7.51 times my 9.8. So when I do the multiplication, this is the one and only time I will put an X for multiplication. Usually, that's like my pet peeve, okay? Because once you get into algebra, X is no longer a multiplication, and people are not eased into that transition. And that's why everyone gets screwed up with algebra because of multiplication. I'm telling you, all right? So what we're going to do, instead of lining up our decimals, let's see if I make this a little bit bigger for y'all. We're going to keep an account like how many decimal places are in each spot. So for the 7.51, there's 2 decimal places. For the 9.8, there is 1 decimal place. So this is kind of nice to know off to the side, because at the end, we're going to look at how many decimal places we need to take after we do the multiplication. So, old-time multiplication. I'm going to take the 8 and I'm going to distribute to every digit and write it in one line. So if I do 8 times 1, that gives me 8. If I do 8 times 5, that gives me 40. So I'm putting the 0 and I'm carrying the 4, but I'm going to add that 4. I kind of like to put a little plus sign, okay, just as a reminder of what exactly I'm doing. So now I got my 8 times 7, that gives me 56. Then I'm going to add the 4 that I carried over, which gives me 60. All right. So it's almost like the distributive property. And anything we have to carry over, we kind of like to put that plus sign on the very top. Now, don't worry about the decimal points right now. Notice the 9 is basically over the 10 spot. Okay? So that's where we're going to put our first digit. A lot of people will say, okay, 9 times 1, I'll put 9 underneath the 8. No. It's always got to be shifted over 1. So this will be 9 times 1 is 9. Then 9 times 5 is 45. So we put down the 5 and then we raise the 4, which is so nice because I can reuse that plus 4 again. And then we have 9 times 7 gives me 63. And 63 plus 4, what do we got? 67. Okay. Yes. You can put the placeholder of 0. You can. Okay. You can put that placeholder of 0. But a lot of the students will always put the 9 underneath the 8, and then that's when it gets all kinds of cray. All right? Good. Okay. So now, just like we were doing with our addition before, straight up and down. So we bring down our 8. 0 plus 9 gives me 9. 0 plus 5 gives me 5. 6 plus 7, that's 12 plus 1, that's 13. Carry the 1. And 6 plus 1 gives me 7. All right. Excellent job. Good job. All right. The reason why, if you notice in the answers, we have a couple people that are putting the decimal point between the 3 and the 5. Reason being, we had 2 decimal places for the first number. We have 1 decimal place for the second number. So what we do is we add them together. So now we're looking at 3 decimal places. We're starting here at the end. And we're going 1, 2, 3. My decimal place is going right between the 3 and the 5. Yes. Thank you, Gen X Todd. How are you? Yes. Between the 3 and the 5. All right. I know there's a different way of doing multiplication now. We're taking the hundreds and then we're multiplying by 100 and all. Yeah. I just feel, this is just me. Okay. If I'm wrong and you don't like it, I really want. I'm okay, Todd. I'm gonna just keep it like that. All right. So what happens is you keep track of your places, your decimal places, and then you add them all together. Okay, and don't forget that part at the end. All right, so if I had slide this over. So if I had 8.2 times 9.499, and they want to know what the answer of that is. It's a no, unless it will actually be 3. Sorry, hardship. I just saw your note. It's gonna be 3, because since it didn't come with the 80, like you're adding the 0 as a placeholder, whereas the original, if I may slide over for a sec, whereas the original was just 9.8. So it will just be like 3 decimal places. Okay. Yeah. Because trust me, I hear it from a lot of parents, especially when they go from like homeschool and then they go back to like traditional schools. Yeah, not a problem. They're always like, I don't understand. My kids are lost, and they're getting the right answers, but they're getting points taken off of their exams because the teacher's like, oh, you're not using my way, or you're not using this way. And I keep saying there's multiple ways of getting the same blessed answer. You start multiplying from that. I always like to multiply from the bottom up. Like you always like to multiply from the bottom up. Learn the new ways, but I realized fast I needed to relearn what I forgot. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so since this is a little bit longer, I'm going to put this bad boy on top. So that's my 9.499. And I'm multiplying it by 8.2. So I got myself going in reverse now. All right. So always start all the way at the end. My first number has 3 decimal places. My second number has 1 decimal place. That tells me that when I do my answer, I should be looking at 4 decimal places. All right. So following all the way at the end. So I'm going to take this 2 and distribute to everything in that first number. So 2 times 9, that gives me 18. So I write down the 8 and then I carry the 1. I'm going to put my carries in pencil just in case I have to erase. So now I have 2 times 9, that gives me 18, but plus the 1, that gives me 19. So I bring down the 9, and then I carry the 1. So now 2 times 4 gives me 8, plus 1 gives me 9. All right, so I don't have anything to carry this time. And then 2 times 9 gives me 18. Since I don't have any additional numbers, the whole of the 18 comes down. All right. All right, so now we're doing, so this is why I put it in pencil. So if I have to erase, so when it's time for me to do distribution for the next one, it's not so crazy. So now I'm going to distribute the 8 to everything in the top one. So 8 times 9, that gives me 72. So just like what Janice mentioned, if you want to put a 0 for a placeholder here, you can. It's not going to disrupt the value of any of the numbers. So now I have 8 times 9 gives me 72. So I bring down the 2 because I have to be in the 10th spot, and then carry over the 7. Wow. So we got plus 7. So now 8 times 9 again, that gives me 72. 72 plus the 7 gives me 79. So I put down the 9 and I carry over the 7. So now 8 times 4, that gives me 32. Not 36, 32. And then 32 plus 7, that gives me 39. So I bring down the 9 and I carry over the 3. I don't know why that keeps going over there. And last but not least, we have 8 times 9, again 72, but 72 plus 3, that gives me 75. So from here, we're going to add our numbers. Okay. Good evening. How are you, creation? How's it going? All right. Sir Archer, how are you? I haven't seen your name in a minute. Okay. All right, so now we're going to combine. So if we come here, start at the end. Do not start in the beginning. The end. Okay? So we have 8 plus 0. That gives me 8. 9 plus 2. That gives me 11. So I'm doing my 1. And then I'm adding my 1. 9 plus 9 is 18. Plus 1 is 19. So 8 plus 1 gives me 9. So that's 9 times 9. 9 plus 9, that gives me 18. Then 5 plus 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. And then we have our original 7 coming down. So as we mentioned, first digit had 3 places. 1. So we should have 4 starting at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my answer should be 77.8918. Okay. Looking and learning. All right, not a problem. Oh, thank you, man. It's like tap. I appreciate it. I just need to calm myself down. Who knew that math is what I needed to calm myself down? Not I. Not I. Okay, so when you're adding and subtracting, okay, you have to line up your decimal points. But when you're multiplying, you just have to keep track of how many decimal places they are, and you add them together for your final answer. And good job, Janice. I'm not sure if I told you that. Good job. Okay, Aaron, why did I think lining up the decimals made it easier? Well, for adding and subtracting, yes. Not for multiplying. Yeah, not for multiplying. My job? Oh, nice. If I may ask, what do you do? Not a problem. Yep. All right. Plumber. Oh, yes. I actually, 4 months ago, I helped a young man get that first step of being a electrician. I forgot what the name of that exam was. And we were having fun with that. Okay. All right. Okay. There you go. Have fun with that. Enjoy. All right. Do you do one-on-one? I do. I've been really popular with ASVAT lately. Oh, and one of our students, I don't know if she's here. She passed her ASVAT today. So she's going on to the next step. She got the score that she wanted, and I was so happy. She took the test today, and she got the score that she wanted. I don't think she's in here right now. But I love when people do fun stuff and just, yeah, right? Get those accomplishments. That's what I love. Love, love, love. All right. And then I got across this and it just ruins my day. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know how to add and subtract? What's going on? Yeah, that was an ordeal. Okay. So let's continue on. So I'm multiplying and dividing. Multiplying. Been doing it for 34 years. Oh, wow. Yes. And trust me, that's needed. And it seems like a lot of people are not going into that field anymore, Todd. Like, that's a shame. Like, that masonry, that used to be so huge. And no one's not. So how the hell are we going to have houses and stuff? Who's going to fix my house? Who's going to do all that? All right. Okay. So I think we're good with multiplication. Let's get with a little bit of division. So let's just say, coming over here, let's say I have 945. And I think we were kind of doing a little bit with division last night, actually. 0.21. Okay, so we have 945 divided by 21 hundredths. Yep. Yeah, all the trades are dying off, right? Teachers are coming next. Everyone thinks that AI can do it, but here's the thing. You got to put a prompt in order for AI to kick on. So unless you know what the results are going to come out, you still have to have some knowledge base in order for AI to do it. So, that's just my little 2 cents. Because everyone keeps thinking that, AI, oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, we'll always need teachers. I'm serious. Like, you're always going to need some kind of education. And it's going to have to come from someone that has their expertise and they're sharing it. Hence this. All right. So, yeah, but we always get the low end of the totem pole. All right. So, since it's kind of rough for us to see it horizontally, especially in this state, let's do the traditional of long division and see, ever since we brought calculators into the classroom, long division just kind of went out the window, right? But here's the thing, and I mentioned this yesterday. This is going to be my dividend. This is what's going to be underneath my division symbol. This is my divisor, okay? But here's the thing. The divisor should never be a decimal, okay? It has to be a whole number. So that means in order for me to make this into a whole number, I have to move it over 2 spots to make it into a whole number. But if I move it 2 spots to make it into a whole number, that means I need to add 2 of the zeros to make it into a whole number. All right? That's the part a lot of people forget. Okay? That's the part where a lot of people forget. So, when we do this, okay? What are we getting this? Yes, make it into a whole number. Yes, by Journeyman, yes. Exactly. Yep, dividing fractions, simple as that. There you go. All right, Nicholas, what are you doing? So, this is where we're going back to what we did yesterday. Since we have 2 digits here at 21, that means I want to look at 2 digits here in the dividend. So I need to think, how many groups of 21 can get me close to 94? So I know if I use 5, right? 21 times 5, that's going to give me like 105. That's way too big. I try to shoot for numbers that I know. 2 is just going to be double this. Okay, so that's going to be 42. All right, have fun with that. But if I go to 5, that's a number that I know, or 10s, that's another number that I know 5 is going to be too much. But what about 4? Can 4 work? Yes. Hey, Nicole, there she is. Just at the nick of time. So if I do 4, I'm going to put the 4 over top of the 4 of the 94. Because 4 times 21 gives me 84. Okay. So when I do my subtraction, I got my 9 minus 8, that gives me 1. My 4 minus 4, that gives me 0. And then I want to bring down the next number, which is a 5. And luckily, we just mentioned how many 21s, so we're going to repeat the process again. So how many groups of 21 is going to go into 105 without going over? Hey, we're lucky enough to get it exact. So we go for the 5. 5 times 21, that gives me 105. If I subtract, that's going to give me 0. But here's the thing. We added those 2 zeros to make it into a whole number. So those 2 zeros still need to be represented. So we think of it this way. How many groups of 21 gives me 0? 0. And then here's that other. How many groups of 0 gives me 20? Or how many groups of 21 gives me 0? That'll be 0. Okay. So by us moving, and I think this was mentioned yesterday. So by us moving the decimal place over and then adding the 2 zeros, decimal place will be over here. But we don't need it because we don't have anything extra to expand to. This 4,500 is going to be our answer. So that's my quotient. Yes, Nick. Okay, what about times? Roy. All right. All right, so if you ever get, I know this will be one out to the races here. Let me do it this way with the tilt. So if I did like 945 divided by 0.21, it gives us our 4,500. Okay. So we don't have to put it back. We used it and we evened it out. So we don't have to put it back to like 45 or anything like that. Okay. Why did I think you had to add the decimal back? That's okay, Shay. It's okay. Because there's probably someone at one point in time said, you got to add the decimal back. No, you really don't. Yep. Okay. All right. Are we okay? All right, let's try another one. All right, let's try this one. I'll just keep it the same color. Let's try this one. So 3 points. Oops. I love it when people leave their dogs outside for no reason. And it'll just be barking all the time. The dog just wants to come inside, spend some time with you. That's all. Oops. That's supposed to be an 8. So sorry. Divided by 86. Okay. So 3.268 divided by 86. I know, Roy, but here's the thing. You're coming in a little bit late. I had a couple of students, one is adult, one was a 10th grader that did not know how to add, subtract, multiply, or divide using a decimal place. So I kind of feel like this is a state of a freaking emergency. So I just shut down what I wanted to do to make sure that everyone knows how to do this. Because decimals, there's no wrapping around it. Decimals, you're constantly surrounded with decimals. You're surrounded with your bills. You're surrounded with paying things and your tabs and all this stuff. So I have a small headache. And I really, I just like, I used to have a dog and I literally used to walk. Everyone knew us because I had like an Irish Wolfhound lab mix. And he was such, loved him. He was my very first dog I've ever owned. Actually, he owned me, so loved that dog. Passed away about 3 years ago. Still miss him. Anywho, before I get all misty-eyed and stuff. Okay, so the 3.268, that's going underneath. Or some people like to call it, that goes into the house. And my divisor is the 86. All right. Yes, definitely. But trust me, these cats entertain me. Actually, she was a stray. She just came up to me. My ex used to feed her. And I was like, that's just going to be Pandora's box right there. But anyway. So we have 2 digits. Yes, there's a decimal underneath, and that's fine. Okay? But here's the thing. Just like with addition and subtraction, we need to line our decimal up. So we know for a fact there isn't any groups of 86 that can go into 3. So that's going to be a 0. There isn't any groups of 86 that can go into 32. So this is going to be a 0. Okay. So now we got 326. So we need to figure out how many groups of 326 or how many groups of 86 can go into 326. So if I think of 86 times 5, that's 30, that's 40, so that's 430. That's way too much. So let me back it down. So if I say 86 times 4, no, that's not going to work. That's 344. 3? All right, let's see. So 86 times 3 gives me 258. Thank you. I would have gotten it eventually. But hey, we all need help once in a while. All right, so I'm going to subtract those. Okay, now working on subtraction. So 6 minus 8, yeah, it's tough to do. Borrowing from the 2, make that into a 1, make that 6 into a 16. So 16 minus 8 gives me 8. All right, 1 minus 5, yeah, can't do that. Let me borrow a 10 from this 3, make that into a 2. Now that 1 is an 11. 11 minus 5, that gives me 6. And then I have my 2 minus 2 gives me 0, so that's not going to help me. But then I have this 8 on the end that I can bring on down. So now I'm thinking of that process all over again. So I know that 86 times 5 gave me 430, so it's got to be more than 5. So what do we think? 7? Okay. So 86 times 7 gives me 602. So 87 times 8. So how about 8? How about 8, Roy? Or am I thinking wrong? 86 times 8? 6 and 8 is 48. 8 and 8 is 64. 64 plus 4 gives me 68. Yeah? Okay. Yay. See? Not too bad. Not too shabby. Gives me 688. So that means I do not have a remainder. Thank you, goodness. So we just keep it as 38 thousandths with the TH at the end. That would be my solution. Hey, Banks. How are you? Good. Good job, guys. Nice one. All right. All right. So I think we kind of get this now. I know we get this. And it'll be nice to have this to hold on to. Now, there was something else I was probably going to hold on to tomorrow, but I don't think I'm going to. The other one is percentages. Let's talk about that. And then I'll just show parts of it. And this is like everyday math type stuff. So I'm going to use this side. Okay. Now, when it comes to sale prices, this is what I'm talking about. Now, a lot of people would normally say, like say there was, I don't know, a jacket, okay? So if we're doing, I want to say calculating. Oh, sale prices. Okay. I don't know if you can share this with your kids. If you do, this is the one thing that I took pride in when I was a teacher in the classroom. Every Friday was Financial Day Friday. We always did financial stuff. I don't care if the superintendent was coming to the school. This is me. I don't care. My kids need to learn basic math concepts because you will be shocked as to the answers. Like if you ask them, how much do you think the first year, how much do you think you would spend for a baby in its first year of existence? These people are talking about $1 million. Some people are talking about like 80 grand. Some people, one gentleman said $1,000. He's like, yeah, I can get a lot of stuff from the dollar store. Baby. Like, what are we doing? All right. So let's just say you had like a leather jacket. Okay. Let's say there was a jacket, right? And the cost of that jacket was, what do I have here? $227.29, right? And say that the jacket, it was on sale. And I always read the signs, guys, when it comes to sales. Because some of them will say up to 15%. Those are the worst. Because you're like, oh, I'll just take 15% off. There may be certain items in that store that will be 15% off, but this particular one will be 5%, right? So you always have to read the sign. If they have the word up to, that means there's a different variations of sale prices going on out there. Now, here's the thing. When they have a sale price, I know a lot of people will say, all right, change that to 0.15, change it from a percent to a decimal, multiply it by the jacket price, get that price, that's going to be your sale price, right? And then you will subtract that from the original price. Okay, that works every time. Think of it for a second. If you're looking for the sale price, okay, work with me here. If 15% is coming off, how much percent is still on the item? I know, sorry I'm being so dramatic, but seriously, makes you think about this. Okay? If 15% is coming off, how much is still staying on? 303, Marianne, how are you? Thank you. Michael R. Yes, thank you. Okay? 85% is still on this item. JC, thank you. All right? So if 85% is still on this item, couldn't we get the same answer? Roy is saying like about $34 is going to come off. So couldn't we take that 227, I know I'm using a calculator right now, and couldn't we just multiply by that 0.85 to get the sale price? Yep, I will multiply the price by 0.85. Yep, to get that final price. Exactly. Okay, you're going to get the same amount. Oops. Yep. And then, by the way, Roy, you are correct. It's about, like, it's a little more than $34. Like, $34.09. Okay? Good job. All right? So this is an everyday hack that if you're not doing this, this is what you can do to figure out what your sales price should be. Figure out what is the percentage that's coming off, and then just say, okay, if I do 1 minus that 0.15, that will give me what's going to still be on the item. In this case, it's a jacket. So if I take this $227.29 and I multiply it by 0.85, okay, I'm just going to go right to it because, yeah, we're kind of getting late. So basically, your price is going to be $193, and it would be rounded. So that's why I'm saying approximately 20 cents if I did the rounding correctly. Exactly, Todd. Work smarter, not harder. All right. So there you go. So if I did do it the longer way, so if I had my 227.29, okay, multiply it by my 0.15, I would got my $34.09. So I'll take 227.29 minus my $34.09, and you'll get roughly the same answer. Okay? This one, decimal a little bit longer, but rounded, it will get you the same answer. All right? So, okay, new divided by the old times 100. You can do that. Yep. So new divided by the old times 100. Yeah, it does. Yeah, a little bit longer. Because, for those that know me, I'm lazy. If you haven't figured it out already. All right, so if you are looking at, some kind of cheapo watch, okay, you go into Kohl's. I'm not sure if everybody knows what a Kohl's is, but maybe there's one of those dollar Kohl's sales, and you have like one of those, maybe a smart-ish watch for $26.45, and they're saying that we have like a discount about like 6.5% off. Okay. Yep. 2 steps versus 1 step. That's what I'm talking about, Michael. All right. So, what do we got? So, if 6.5% is coming off, how much is staying on? Especially, it's supposed to be 100. I think I made it 10. No wonder it didn't make sense to people. But it's actually $1. So, you get it. Okay? So we're looking at 93.5. Okay? Excellent. Thank you, Roy. Appreciate you. Okay? So now, take that 93.5 and multiply it to your watch. And then you'll just get your answer. So the 2645. I mean, not multiply. Wait, hold on. Yeah. Oh, forgot. We gotta change it. That's probably why. Because if I just keep it at 6.5, ooh, that was crazy. Keep forgetting. Gotta change it from a percent to a true decimal. So I still need to move it over 1, 2. That's why I was like, wait, I'm getting 1,000. Okay, so it's going to be 0.065. Okay, 0.065. So if I take, because I got to get it out of that percentage first. So instead of 93.5, it'll be 0.935. Take that and multiply by the 2645. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, how did you get 93? So if you take one whole minus that 0.065, you're going to get your 0.935. Because you want to see what is that out of $1. Okay. I got this something different for change, Roy. I didn't get 90 cents. Yes, definitely less than $25. I agreed to that. Okay, so we have to change the percent to a true decimal, although it already has a decimal in there. But right now, it's still under a percent. So we had to move it over 2 because we had to multiply by 100. 1, 2. So we need that 0 as a placeholder. So that's why it's 0.065. If you subtract 1 from that 0.065, you're going to get basically the rate of the discount. Multiply that by the profit or the price of the watch, and you will get the total amount. So you got your 26.45 times 0.935. I got 24.73. Anyone else get 24.73? You like to count cards. Hello, Monique. Don't get me incriminated with you. You got that too? Yeah. You got 73. Me too with the counting cards, or me too with the number? The number. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So whatever the price of that lovely watch was, $24.73. You think you're getting something, because you're like, ooh, 6% off. That's cool. Yeah, some chump change. Okay. Siri agrees. Yay, Siri's. You're fast. I'm fast. Okay. Am I too fast? Because if so, I can slow down. All right. All right. I really just want without paper. Good job, Roy. Yeah, at my stage right now tonight. No. Yeah, it will definitely be a death zone. So hopefully someone learned something new. Maybe you guys already knew that, but I just noticed that when I mentioned it to some people, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I never knew I could just do that." I'm like, "Yeah, you can save so much." Okay. Oh, you're welcome. Good. Okay. Because when it comes to those sale prices, one, look to make sure they don't have the words up to really small next to the number. And if they don't, hey, this is how you can calculate roughly how much that shirt or those outfits or those eggs or whatever you're about to buy really costs. So before you go up to the register and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, oh, I didn't know it was going to still be that much. I thought there was a price coming off, right? All right. I know, really. I'm dead right now. Okay, so. Okay, sure. So first we had to change the 6.5 because originally it was a 6.5%. We had to change it out from a percent to a true decimal. So in order for it to be a true decimal, it has to be out of 100. So that means I'm moving over 2 slots away from the decimal that's given. So that's where the 0.065 came from. So most of your rate always comes out from 1. This should look kind of familiar, guys, especially if some of you guys done exponential growth and decay. This is your rate. Okay, so it's 1 minus the 0.065, and that's how we got the 0.935. So now that is going to be your sales rate, and you need to multiply that to the original price. If you multiply by the original price, you will get what the sales price is, which is the $24.73. Okay, does that make sense? Yes, exactly. Thank you, LW. Yeah, so you can go straight to the sales price, not so much like how much money is coming off of it. If you want to know how much money is coming off of it, do the way that you're used to doing, which is you're just basically taking the number and multiplying by the sales price as a decimal, which would be your 0.065. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Good night, Todd. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it because, gotta go to work in the morning. Now you know. Yes. Yes, girl. Come on. I'm telling you. Because this is how people are trying to make their little slick self do. Oh, I tried. Thanks, Todd. All right. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to decompress. Calm myself down. All right. And what we're going to work on tomorrow, we're probably going to do a little bit more percentages and then start getting a little bit more with the rational, unless something else comes up during a session and I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this tonight. So again, thank you guys for coming in. If you do like the design of the book, this is a book that I made. I'm currently working on trying to get on TikTok Shop. But of course I have a couple hiccups that I have to clean up before I can do that. But if you are interested in the meantime that you want to get on the Ultimate Math Notebook train, which also has our factor charts from 1 to 200 and some other rules and regulations that I will definitely be adding some more stuff into, just to kind of help keep things going. It's in my Amazon account. You can just click on my face, go to my profile, go to my website. Once you go into the website, you will actually see the Ultimate Math Notebook. Click on the link and it will take you directly to Amazon. All right. So if you want to, you can definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. All my live replays are there. So if there's something that you're like, you need to see more about slope, you need to see more about, combinations and permutations, whatever. Okay, all the stuff that I have done since February is on there because I started, doing these live things February the 5th. So, and then tomorrow is Thursday. Yeah, I will definitely be here at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and hopefully in a little more chipper position than I am right now. Okay. All right. And if you want to, you can definitely go to my ACG math tutoring and type a review for me for Google. That'll be awesome. Okay. Yes, please, Janice, get some rest. Get some rest. Get some rest. Thank you for following, Rob. Yes, Michael. You guys always make me feel better. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, when you guys are learning, it makes me feel so much better. And then I actually got like 2 new clients today. And yeah, I love how everyone's like, my jar is failing. Can you help? And I'm like, sure. Like, when is the school year over? Like, don't say tomorrow because there is no hope. But yeah, if you know of anyone that's thinking about taking the ASVAT, also the Acuplacer, GED, I'm more than willing to help you guys break all these concepts down. And also I have courses that you can do that's self-paced, and all you have to do is just like sign up so I can do maybe a tutoring session with you to help you make sure you understand the concepts a little bit more. All right. Thank you, Alaska. All right. Hello, Deborah. All right. So thank you guys so much for the chipper. And I will try my hardest to be a lot chipper tomorrow. All right. So take care. Get some rest. And I will see you guys tomorrow evening at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we're probably going to be doing some more questions with percentages, but we're definitely going to get ourselves involved in rational functions, okay? Because we definitely need to get some of those things done, okay? All right, everyone, have a great night. I love that there's like 134 people in here, and they're like, where's the math? Well, the math is mathed out. All right, talk to you guys later. And if you want, there's a couple people that if you want to follow, I'm not sure if Impact Math is on right now. That's one person, a Blessed RN, if you're into nursing and you need help with your dosage calculations, she can help you out with that. And then the chemistry tutor, Professor TK, she's awesome. And I know my friend Lynette is definitely going to be on. She's got like this thing called Midnight Math. So if you're around and you're still up on the East Coast, hey, she'll be up and teaching how to use the abacus. All right. Just fun times. Good stuff. Even I'm learning. I was like, I've never used the abacus, and it's such a cool thing. So, all right. Okay, guys. Good night. Bye. Thank you so much for the support. I greatly appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow night.